Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Taking the Lead, where I get the joy of interviewing some of the top leaders in the PR and communications profession who we assume are good at PR and communications, but we're here talking to them because they are respected as leaders. So today I want to introduce you to someone who I haven't met in real life before. This is starting to become fun on Taking the Lead, where we start to create new friendships and relationships while you're watching. Anyway, today's guest is Olita Mills. She is the president of LaForce. She's been in that role since 2020. Previously, she was a senior VP there, overseeing the global brand division, but she started at its predecessor company in 2005. So we're going to talk about that rise to the top. So everyone, please welcome to Taking the Lead, Olita Mills.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm very happy to have you here. So we're going to get right to it. As I sort of hinted, you started as a senior AE at the predecessor company, LaForce and Stevens, iconic name, and went all the way to president. So a lot of people would like to do that. What were your leadership North Stars that got you here?
I love this question because I realize that my career trajectory in some cases, even today, is a bit unique. Spending the majority of my career in one organization. As I grew up, I think one of my big mantras that was taught to me almost by my father was be impractical about what you can achieve and be practical about how you get there. And this was something that was ingrained to all of our siblings, but it was more a message of dreaming big and thinking big and making sure that you have hope. I know I am an optimistic person, but I try to be realistic. But in terms of how you get there, being realistic about the work that you need to do. What I loved about the organization that I was at, and even the industry that I'm in, is that there's so many steps to getting to the top, but you're learning and you're constantly learning along the way. And for me, my North Stars started in my own family and having parents who were in education and really taught that really hard work ethic. I had a father, like I said, who had multiple jobs my entire life, not only a teacher, but a coach, but a small business, sort of entrepreneur. So just really instilling that work ethic in us and knowing that you're not going to jump to the top in 5 seconds. You really got to take that time. And then really just even looking at when I was in my career, a huge piece of this was working with James LaForce. And while when I started at LaForce, I was not directly reporting into him, but we had it was a mid-sized company, and the benefits of being there was really you were able to see what the founder was doing, what the leadership was doing at the top, just by being in person with them and observing them and overhearing them. So there was North Stars within my family that I sort of followed, and then there was this North Star in my internal organization as I started to work up that really helped me sort of see my path in a great way.
Lovely, lovely. So you lead an all-women leadership team now at the agency. You're a woman of color. The
Yes.
statistics show, despite all the talk, we have so far to go in this industry to reach the DE&I goals. What gives?
This is such an important question and something that I feel strongly that addressing it in a way that, yes, we are making strides. And I feel lucky and thrilled that I'm at an organization where I have a gay founder, a Black president, an all women leadership team. There's so many great ideas that come from having this kind of example at the top and then really making sure that it's threaded through. I realize that in some cases we're unique in terms of, a lot of companies are not built this way. When I became president, it really was an extension of even James's vision to make sure that it is deliberate that we continue this path throughout the organization. So in who we hire and who we're not even promoting, who we're hiring and who we're recruiting into the art organization. But one of the things that I think is really important is in our industry of communications and public relations that we're trying to connect with young people, and especially young people of color and women, to let them know that this is a viable path for them. What I'm finding, and we've created partnerships to make sure that we're bringing in interns and people of all diverse backgrounds. But sometimes people don't even realize that this is an industry for them. So I think, just doing trying to do a really good job in making sure that people know that they can enter this industry and it's a really good path for their career and trajectory, so that we can see more of this elsewhere.
Right. So you've mentioned James LaForce. He is an icon in the industry. He's a very dear friend of my dear friend who we've interviewed here, Patrice Tanaka. Hi, James. We have to meet at some point. That would be nice. But he's still very much there. I would imagine that could create some interesting challenges or opportunities for you as a leader. How do you manage that?
Exactly. I mean, it's absolutely both. And James, as you said, he is an icon. He is a veteran, and I feel lucky that I was able to learn so much from him. A story that I wanted to share is that, and I started to allude to this when I started here, we had an open floor plan. There was no offices. And so I was a mid-level executive who happened to have a seat next to the founder of the company. Like I said, no one had offices, including the senior executives. And in the beginning, that was very concerning for me. It's like, I was going to be under this microscope. And, what it taught me, and so much of this is also in retrospect, is I got to sit and listen and hear him during the day. I got to hear problems that he was solving that sometimes had nothing to do with me, but influenced how I was working and decisions that I would make down the road. And so there's a lot that I learned from him. But then when I became president, and I think this goes to the answer of your question, the challenges are, he built such a great organization. And for me, it's how do I help bring even more longevity to it? How do I help evolve? How do I help innovate with someone who really is just such a veteran in the industry and knows it so well? So he and we usually see eye to eye, and if we don't, we really love it. Like, we really do try to challenge each other, and we're very respectful in terms of hearing each other's opinions and supporting the way in which it needs to go. He's been incredibly supportive of me and my career, and he has done a lot. And so if I want to take a risk and do something, even if he doesn't necessarily always agree to it, he usually supports me and saying, why don't you try it and let me know how it goes.
That's
And so it's been a great relationship, for the last, I would say, 15 plus years.
lovely. And that, I mean, that is leadership to
Yeah.
say, let's try it your way. And James, if you're watching, and I hope you are, I hope you noticed Olita's face just lit up when she
He's
talked about you.
truly
So this is
magnificent.
very genuine. I know you're not faking it. So
I
your
know.
bio mentions you're a world traveler. You've done cycling tours of Italy and France. You visited gorillas in Rwanda. How does all that informed or affected your leadership approach?
I highly recommend going to Rwanda and seeing the gorillas. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience that literally changed everything for me. I love to travel. I every chance I got, and I would hop on a plane, and whether it be with a friend, in some cases I would go alone, and travel to different countries. I really feel strongly that there's so many things that you get from travel, whether you're able to go and be on a global excursion or even a local exploration in your own city or within your state. It brings, for me, in our industry, a lot of creativity. Um, sitting behind a desk, there is, and I think the pandemic really stunted a lot of that for me, to be very honest. I couldn't wait to get back out and being able to see things in the ways that I used to. It brings a lot of ideas, and it impacts a lot of the creative thinking that we're bringing to our clients and brands. I also think, and I know, you know, getting to know other cultures in the best way that you can. So much of my leadership style, I try to lead with compassion. And even though I have this thing that I say that you can be direct and you can be kind, like, it really is very important to me. And I think in order to be able to lead with compassion, so much of it is about being able to relate to other people, whether it be their culture or their background or where they, how they got to where they are. And we can't possibly be in every single person's shoes all the time, but traveling to me helps me understand people better. People that I didn't necessarily, when I would meet them the first time, it's like you can connect with them in different ways. So I truly love it, and it definitely informs what I do.
Absolutely. Last quick question.
Sure.
You are a single mom
Um,
in midlife. We don't call it middle-aged anymore. Someone the other day said call it middlescence, like adolescence. So it's like,
exactly.
I'm already
Exactly.
past it, but I'll use that. How does being a single mom at this point in your life affect your leadership?
Well, the decision and then the actual reality of having a child is something that I'm incredibly proud of. And so I really thought that I knew having a daughter would change me. However, it really has just made me even more inspired and even more hardworking and even more determined and even more ambitious than I was before I had her. I think, there is truth to when you have someone else that you're taking care of and that you're living for, you sort of get motivated in a different way. But for me, being that in this situation, I am both mom and in some cases, I guess the dad, you can't replace dad, but dad. Um, it's just so important to me that I am an example to her that she just looks up to and wants, she doesn't necessarily have to be like me, but wants to uh be inspired by what I do, and I want her to be proud of who I am. So for me, the leadership there is be better, be more, work harder, but also it has taught me to be more organized, the best that I can, because there's only so many hours in the day, and
Yeah.
so many of those hours used to go into whatever I wanted to do, and now clearly I have other responsibilities when I get home at night that I have to tend to.
This just session just brought me so much joy and so
Oh,
much fun. I'm so glad you agreed to be our guest today. I want to tell everyone out there, if you want to reach out to Olita Mills, Olita Mills, that's actually an easy one. You can
yeah.
find her on LinkedIn. If you want to reach out to me to discuss any of the things we've discussed today or the other things we discuss, you know where to find me. KEN@JACOBSCOMM.com. And we're just going to say till next time, keep on taking the lead. And thank you, Alita.
Thank you.